And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show. I am your host, Pep Fernandez. Thank you for tuning in live on this Wednesday night, live and amplified every Wednesday at about 7:05 p.m. Listen, we're going to dive deep on high school football because there's a lot of stuff going on right now. First and foremost, I hope everyone out there is safe and healthy and doing okay with these fires who just seem to be surrounding us right now in the Inland Empire. Of course, the one that's burning, the line fire up by San Bernardino. I know there's a fire over like in the Lake Elsinore area. Smaller fires popping up across Riverside County. A big one up in Wrightwood. So I know the air quality obviously is going to be a big factor. Luckily, if you're looking for a silver lining, I think we're getting some relief from the heat. The temperatures are really cooling down, but the air quality continues to be a major hurdle for high school sports and schools. I know, I think it's like San Bernardino School District, Redlands, I think Colton maybe as well, and Rialto. They are all closed for the rest of the week. San Bernardino Valley College is also closed for the rest of the week, which means athletics as well. I know a lot of teams were trying to find a way to safely still do sports this week, and specifically high school football by the end of the week, and it's just been very, very challenging for the teams in those areas. So real quick, before we get to our interviews and videos, this is the latest as of Wednesday night in terms of games that have been either canceled or postponed. And I will preface it with this. A lot of those teams who did not play in week 0, who played 10 straight weeks leading to the playoffs, it was hard for them because if they got, their game canceled or postponed, they didn't have any wiggle room to schedule a different game down the road. That also goes for the teams that had a season or had a bye early in the season. How do you move games? A team like Cajon, who had an early bye, San Gorgonio had an early bye. If you burn up that bye week early on in the season, you don't have an extra week somewhere down the road to make up that game in terms of a bizarre circumstance like we're seeing this week because of the air quality. So with all that said, here's what we know on Wednesday night, at least what I've had confirmed. Temescal Canyon versus Patriot. That was supposed to be on Thursday night. That game has been postponed from what I heard. I texted with Coach Fowler at Patriot just a little bit. He said there's a chance they could play on Saturday, but there's a lot of factors up in the air because Temescal Canyon is very close to a fire that's burning in that area, and they haven't had a chance to practice at all. So he said that is still very much in the air. He's not sure what's going to happen, but it is postponed. They are not playing on Thursday night. Palm Desert versus Yucaipa, that game was postponed. That was another Thursday night game, but because the Yucaipa Thunderbirds had a bye in week 5 right before league play, and so did Palm Desert, they were able to reschedule that game for September 26th. All right, Cajon, who had a bye already the previous week, they were playing Newport Harbor at home, actually, on their homecoming. The Cajon game has been moved to Orange County. They will play at Estancia High School in Costa Mesa. So the homecoming game for Cajon in Orange County, but they are getting the game in, so that is the good news. So good job on the Cowboys there. San Gorgonio versus Redlands, that game has been canceled. They are not making that game up. Citrus Valley against Oak Hills, that game has been canceled. And in fact, Oak Hill's already found another opponent in Birmingham. So Citrus Valley will play a 9-game schedule because, again, they did not play in week 0. They were playing 10 straight weeks. So not a lot of wiggle room there for the Blackhawks to schedule somebody else. Let's see. Colton versus Grand Terrace. That game, I have been told, has been postponed. Let's see. Jurupa Valley versus Bloomington, postponed to September 26th. So, again, these teams a lot of teams take byes in week 5 right before league play. That's the case for the Jaguars and the Bruins. They will play September 26th. And let's see, Cabrillo versus Big Bear. Obviously, that game has been canceled. That game will not happen. And as we're doing this on Wednesday night, I got a feeling these won't be the latest updates. We might have some more changes going on here in week 3 of the high school football season. Again, because of the fires, or in some cases, a school playing an opponent who is kind of in that fire zone, or at least where the air quality is not very good, and they're not even allowed to go out and practice. The administration, the school districts making those decisions. So I think there's still a lot of things in play. So as I'm doing this show live, that's what we know. You might watch this show live or watch it on playback on Thursday morning and be like, well, things have changed. And yeah, you're right. Things could change overnight, so we'll wait and see. So with all that said, just want to get that out of the way. Our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game is, and this one's still going from what I've been told, Riverside Poly taking on the King Wolves. This will go down at Wheelock Stadium on the campus of RCC. I texted with Coach McMains at King High School Wednesday evening, and as of Wednesday evening, he said, yes, they are still a go. That is Friday night, King and Poly, one of the biggest rivalries in the area. It's the Wheelock's going to be busting at the seams. There's going to be so many people there. King trying to go to 4-0 on the season. Poly trying to rekindle that magic that led them to a CIF championship game appearance last year. It's our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. All right, now we're going to get to the interviews here, and we did these interviews, full disclosure, we pre-recorded these interviews before a lot of these cancellations began taking place. We're checking in with the Hemet Bulldogs, and the Hemet Bulldogs are at home against Diamond Ranch, and from at least the last I've heard, the Bulldogs are playing, and right now, Hemet playing at a high level. They are 3-0 on the season going into this game against Diamond Ranch, and they've been doing it on both sides of the football, scoring enough points, led by their quarterback, Draven, my guy. You're going to hear from him in just a moment. But also defensively, the Bulldogs have really hunkered down. They are stingy on defense and not giving up a lot of points, which makes life even easier for the offense. Here's our interview with the Hemet Bulldogs. Let's go. Inland Sports. And join us now on the Inland Sports Show. These guys are 3-0 to start the 2024 season, and the best might still be to come for the Hemet Bulldogs. We got Kiso Pitchford, Draven Lopez join us here on the program. Kiso, we'll start with you first because you're on the screen right there. 3-0, man. Things are looking good right now for the Hemet Bulldogs.
Looking good.
So, Kiso, through the first 3 games of the year, what would you say really stood out to you about your team? What have you guys done well?
I feel like what we've done well is, we always play together as a team. Even at times, when one's down, we always there for each other to lift each other up through the hard time. I think that's the reason why we push through to get, the wins that we're getting right now. And that's what we beat other teams that, just working together as a family. Just make sure that we're there for each other and just working together. So that's definitely the main reason why we're being so successful right now. We have many more wins to come and then just way more growth to make happen.
All right, Draven, I'll ask you the same thing because you guys had some success last year, but I just feel like it feels different this year for this Hemet team. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a little different. Of course, we lost our running back last year. It started for 4 years, so that was definitely a big loss. But we returned a lot of people. We gained a lot of people like Kiso, who's first year playing football here. A lot of new people coming out as we've been winning more. So that's been good. And then a new defense. We had a new DC. We had a new defense in. It's just allowed us to give teams some confusion. We've played defense real well. I think our defense has only given up 19 points so far, and we've scored 12 as a defense. So that's been the main key is our defense holding it down. The Talkwoods game, we didn't play our best offensively, but we got the win. And then after that, our offense kind of picked it up. Our O-line, we're a little young. We have a couple new starters, so that's been a little bumpy to begin with, but they're starting to pick it up and learn. And this last game, we were able to run the ball a lot better, so that was real good.
You get some high praise for your defense. What's it like for you as the quarterback going up against that defense, in practice each day? How has that defense maybe made you better for the games?
It definitely made me better, especially playing against a different defense. It's not one you usually typically see. It helped me. It also helped our offense out going against different looks. We're able to switch between 2 different looks, which helps our offense in practice and our scout team, obviously. It gives us 2 different fronts to block, stuff like that. So I think it's been really good. We play a lot of guys both ways, so we all kind of understand the defense and offensive side of the ball. So that's helped us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, Draven, I'm looking at your schedule. You mentioned the Talkwoods game. I do want to go back to that for a second because you had blowout wins against Carter and Indio, but that first game of the year against Talkwoods, it was 17-7. So the defense obviously did its job, and that's an important game for you guys. I know it's not a league game, but that's an important game, right? To beat an in-town rival like that.
Yeah, it was definitely an important one. Defense played great. I didn't play a great game myself. I had 3 interceptions. It wasn't very good offensively at all. We weren't able to run the ball. We weren't able to throw the ball. Their defense kind of locked us up. The thing that separated us was defense and special teams. Special teams, we played great, and they unfortunately didn't. They had a couple key fumbles on special teams where we were able to capitalize, and that's what gave us one of the touchdowns. And then a couple 4th and 1s, 4th and inches where we came up with big stops. I know Kiso had a big stop on 4th and 1. They ran a little toss play. He came downhill and made a tackle, which was pretty big in their territory. So, yeah, definitely defense and special teams stepping up during that game.
All right, Kiso, I'll go back to you. The defense, man. Why is the defense so strong this year, you think?
The defense is so strong this year because, us DBs, especially, we make sure to communicate off the field. We have group chats before games. Our coach makes us take a test about all the formations the other team has. So I feel like that all plays a part. So when we come in the game, we're not confused. We already know the plays, the formats. So it all just all wraps into one. Our D-line, linebackers, they all communicate very well. Back to what I was saying, we just work together, make sure that everybody knows what they're doing, because make sure that we make mistakes in practice. So by the time we play a game, it all just, relapse, and just, that's the reason why, for sure.
Locked in, you know what to do. Let me ask you, obviously you guys are athletically talented, you've got a good team, but how much of the preparation for your opponent is like what you said, doing your homework and knowing like their tendencies or the things that they like to do or their strengths or weaknesses? Like how much homework do you guys have to put in, to feel like you're ready to play, in this case, Diamond Ranch this week?
Our coach usually wants us to watch around 2 hours of film, but it's really all, to the matter of when you start to really understand everything that the team has playing. If you feel like the 2 hours of film isn't enough, just keep watching, just keep studying to really get the basics down and to get everything done and settled. So by that time the game comes, there's no confusion. I feel like that's what we go big on. We make sure that we have everything done, that everybody knows that what they're doing, and that we just work hard in practice.
All right, Keith.
Working hard in practice is definitely our biggest thing.
Well, you got Diamond Ranch this coming week, and I know practice, as we do this interview, practice might be a little bit different this week because of the temperatures and the fires and the air quality. I know it's kind of a wacky week leading up to Diamond Ranch, but what are some things that you guys can do as a team to feel like you're continuing to get better and improving and you're ready to play on Friday night against Diamond Ranch?
I just feel like everybody just needs to watch film on them. Our coach sent us film. We already know what we're expecting. So if everybody just plays their part, just watches and study the other team, then it should all come together at once by the time that game comes, even though, all the weather, things that's going on with the fires and stuff. If we just watch film, study the plays, and just know what we're doing, it should all be fine. Work out perfectly, even though we're not practicing.
Draven, let me go back to you. How much fun are you having this season? And it's fun to win, right? Going 3-0 to those first 3 games.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a lot of fun. Like our coach always said, it's not fun losing. So if you're out here just to have fun, you better be winning. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Definitely going 3-0. Definitely getting to play Talkwitz, our first game, was a lot of fun. That was the first time that any school in town was playing, or any school played us for 5 years in town. So that was fun. And then just winning by a lot, staying together as a team, that's been a lot of fun, and just knowing we have a lot of room to grow. Even though we are 3-0, we got a lot more to do. We got a lot more places to get better. We've struggled in some areas. Even though we're great on defense right now, we struggle tackling. Everybody on the defense has. So that's one place where we know we can improve. So that's just exciting to know that we can get a lot better than where we are.
That's awesome, man. That's a good point there. Especially get better before Sunbelt League. You guys are in the Sunbelt now, and I'm looking at your schedule. There's some really good teams. Riverside Poly went to a finals last year. You add Hillcrest, they're really good. Valley View looks like they're having a bounce back season. They look pretty good. Arlington and Rancho Christian. That's a tough league, man, but it's wide open. Do you feel like you guys should be right there in the mix in terms of a league championship when all the dust settles?
Yeah, I don't think there should be we should be in the mix no matter what. Like you said, it's a lot harder this year, which it will be a lot harder. Valley View's looking a lot stronger than they have years prior. Like you said, Hillcrest looks really good. Poly's coming off a CIF championship runner-up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, league's a lot tougher. I feel like we can be in the mix with anybody we play, though. As long as we practice right that week, watch film, prepare well, I don't think there's a team where we don't think we can win. I mean, our team has a very competitive edge to them, so that's the other thing. I mean, we all think no matter who we play, we're going to win. Doesn't matter. So I think we'll be pretty good. I think we'll be fine in league. It's going to come down to preparation and staying healthy too.
All right, guys, let's do this. Let's wrap it up like this. I'll start with Draven, then I'll go to Kiso too. Draven, I want you to do a little name dropping. Who are some of the guys offensively that have stood out for him? And then Kiso, you can do the same for defense. I don't know if you guys both want to take Quentin Skinner or who gets Q or whatever, but Draven, talk about the offense. Do a little name dropping. Who's really been popping off for the Bulldogs?
Yeah, so offensively, obviously, Quentin Skinner, he's had 4 touchdowns for us. Our sophomore running back, Drew Neal, it's his first year playing varsity football, so he's been a little nervous, but he kind of settled in the last couple games. He had a 60-yard touchdown run in Indio. And then, like I said, the O-line's stepping up. Ian, he started our first game this past week, and he did really well. The whole O-line, we wouldn't be anywhere without them. Tyler Trout, he had a big game this past game. Christopher Washington, and then, of course, Kiso. But everybody seemed to step up a little bit. Even our backup running back and slot receiver, James Abner, he's done real well. And he plays defense too. So everybody's kind of stepped up and filled roles when we need them to. Everybody, like I said, most of the people play both ways. So when we have a guy tired, it's really important that we have people we can count on who can come in and get the job done.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like you guys do. And Kiso, on the defensive side of the football, let's do a little name dropping. Who has stood out?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to start off with all of our DBs. We got Tyler Trout right now. He's playing at safety. You know, he has last year he averaged the most interceptions, so he's definitely a great help for the team. You know, to make sure that nobody gets behind that backfield, and that he just always has that coverage. That's what he plays really well. Then on the other side, the opposite side of me, we have Christopher Washington. He's having a great season right now. You know, there's still more things that we can improve on, both of us on our sides, but it's definitely all coming together. You know, got to thank our D-line, our linebackers all coming together. Russell Huster, Jaden Griffin, got Blake, Malohi, all of them, it wouldn't be possible without them, you know, just stopping running backs, making sure that, you know, plays just get ran through that middle and that everything just gets stopped. So it's definitely all of us as a team, though, that plays a part. So I just want to thank the whole defense for just, you know, working hard to the beginning to the end and just making sure that we secured it up.
Yeah, and it sounds like you got some key players playing on both sides of the football, you know, playing almost like every single snap. So Iron Man football, right? And you're one of those guys.
Yeah. Mainly, there is a lot of people on the team that plays both sides. We're all about, you know, stamina. Our coach make sure that we're conditioned. So by that time, we can expect, you know, to just have to play that overtime. You never know if the game has to go overtime. We just have to be ready and just be stamina.
Well, Kiso, listen, I really appreciate the time. Draven as well, man. Congrats on that 3-0 start. You guys have Diamond Ranch this week, trying to push it to 4-0. Congratulations, and hopefully we can catch up again down the road. I got a feeling you guys will be right in the mix for that league championship, and who knows, maybe a deep CIF run as well, man. That'd be awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That'd be great. Well, I appreciate you, man.
You got it. That's the Hemet Bulldogs here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. All right, some great stuff right there by the Hemet Bulldogs. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to check in with the Temecula Valley Golden Bears. We will also sit down with Centennial boys basketball coach Josh Giles. That's next here on an at-home edition of the Inland Sports Show. We'll be right back. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire.
Want to know the best type of recovery for athletes at zero cost? I'm talking about sleep, of course. As an athlete, good sleep can help you reduce your risk of injury, improve your strength and power output, as well as improve your overall work capacity. It also helps you bounce back quickly from the stress of competition. As a student, adequate sleep can help boost your mood, cognition, productivity, and relationships. Bottom line, don't sleep on sleep. Boost man.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Watching us live here on Wednesday night, which is 9/11. Of course, the tragedy that struck our great country back in 2001 on this very day. Many of us who are old enough remember where we were. In fact, I was a sports anchor for the NBC TV station in Chico, California. And I know at least local TV news-wise, everything was put on pause because there was national TV coverage on NBC. I think it was like 3 days straight. It was just wall-to-wall news. There was no TV shows. There was no local news. It was just national news coverage after 9/11. And, of course, we will never forget. And our prayers to all the people who lost their lives and their families and friends, man, it's we will never forget. And there's not enough. I can't do it justice. I can't put it into words how much this has affected our country and what it means to me personally. So with that said, it is 9/11. We will never forget. Keep that in your prayers and your thoughts today. But we are talking high school football, and it's been very strange today as teams are postponing games or canceling games, changing locations of games, moving games to different days. It's been very, very strange. But we do have a handful of games still taking place. As of right now, Temecula Valley and Chaparral are still going to play. The Golden Bears are coming off an incredible win on the road at Temescal Canyon. Caden Chrisman, a true freshman, goes in there getting his first varsity snaps and threw not one, but two fourth quarter touchdowns to lead Temecula Valley to a big road win, 19-14. And now the Golden Bears have two huge games coming up before they get into league play. They've got Chaparral this week and then Vista Marietta before getting to Big West action. We had a chance to sit down with the Golden Bears and talk about, that big win against Temescal Canyon, which was dramatic, right? A furious fourth quarter comeback, which was awesome. Head coach John Bonaventura and a couple of his star players, including Caden Chrisman and Noah Watkins, great defensive player. We checked in with them, talk about, again, that big win against Temescal Canyon, their upcoming games, and what it's going to take to get better week by week and make a run to maybe win a league title and get to CIF and maybe make a run in the playoffs as well. Here is the Temecula Valley Golden Bears on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show as we get ready for week 3 of the high school football season. These guys are coming off a couple really big wins. We're going to get to that big rivalry win against Elsinore, and then, of course, that Temescal Canyon game that they just came off of was pretty dramatic in the fourth quarter as well. We got the Temecula Valley Golden Bears on the show, and we're going to start with head coach John Bonaventura. And Coach, man, listen, when you look at the first 3 games of the season, you've had 3 really close teams. You've played 3 good teams. You had Liberty in that opener. You've played 3 good teams, 3 close games. You're 2-1. What have you liked about this Temecula Valley team through the first couple weeks?
I like the tenacity. The kids just every week they improve. They go back and they study the film and they look at the corrections that the coaches and I, put on our film, and they learn from it, and they come back, the following Monday ready to go. I think that's the big thing that's really impressed me the most about them is their eagerness to come back, on a Monday after a Friday game, viewing film and, picking one thing every week that we try to improve on. That's been the great thing for me is to watch them on their own, of coaching one another, holding each other accountable, and improving from week to week.
So, Coach, going into the season, would you say this was a team that was on the younger side? Was it a good mix of returning players and young guys? How would you kind of describe the roster that you had going into the season?
Very much so on the younger side. Not very much varsity experience. We lost a lot of seniors last year, a lot of senior leadership. Kids that had played, the varsity level for 2 and 3 years, left. So this year coming in, there wasn't a lot of O-line experience at the varsity, level. Quarterback did not take any snaps at the varsity level last year. We had the 2 guys that went on, after this season. So very much on the younger side, very much, the part of kids needing to learn and understand the speed of the varsity game.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of learning the speed of the varsity game, the guy just to your left on the screen right, Caden Chrisman getting his first varsity action. And Caden, you go into a game, it's a close game, and in the fourth quarter, your team needs a couple touchdowns. And, what was that moment like for you, just being able to play such an important part in helping that team gut out a very close win against Temescal Canyon?
It was a little nervous going in for the first few plays as my first varsity snaps in a game. But after that, I feel like I kind of settled in, had a few minor mistakes here and there. But I feel like towards the end as a team, we started to come together, and everything kind of just was smooth sailing a little bit from there. And I felt like we just got to keep pushing, working hard as a team, and we'll just continue to grow.
Now, Caden, I got video of those 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and I had to watch them a couple times because I thought it was the same exact play. I thought somebody sent me the same clip twice, but was it the same play? Because it looked almost like the same spot on the field, the same route, the same throw. It looked almost exactly the same.
So I think it was 2 drives later, maybe 1 or 2. It was to the same receiver, same guy. I think it was probably the same play, about the same yard line, and just threw it up, made my read, looked left, wasn't open. The corner was kind of playing a little off the ball. Corner was shaded down a little bit on the right. And I trusted my receiver, and I knew he was going to get there. But I threw it up, and it worked. Turned out good.
Yeah, turned out real good. Coach Bonaventura, what can you say about a freshman going out there and just throwing them in the fire and being able to produce like that?
Yeah, very true. Well, we had the JV game the day before. So I was able to – there's the first home JV game because they're on the road, and we tend to have a varsity practice while they're on the road, So having the ability to watch him on that JV game the day before, I saw his composure and his poise and, and watching him throughout, summer and fall camp. So when, we needed an opportunity, I felt we needed a spark. Let's go with a young guy. Part of it was, I felt he was ready to do what we needed to do, but also, put it to the challenge to the offensive line of let's protect the rookie, right? So, they stepped up, they did their thing. The receivers know that, they got to go a little bit harder, run a little bit crisper, and try to help the rookie out. And it worked out, it was exact same play, called exact same time. It was just there, and I had confidence in that they would get it done.
All right, Coach, you were saying that this team, leans to the younger side, but you do have a little bit of experience, and we're talking about Noah Watkins there on the far side of the screen.
Absolutely.
And Noah's been a beast on defense. Can you talk before I get to Noah, can you just talk about what he means to this team and his experience, his leadership, and especially on the defensive side of the football?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. The leadership. He brings that day in and day out. He never takes a rep off. Whether, he plays offense, he plays defense, right? He's our long snapper. So, his ceiling is high as he gets ready for the next level. We're just trying to, find a spot for him. He brings it. He doesn't ever stop, bringing what he needs to do because, for him, it's getting himself ready for a game. but it also makes our offensive line, right, or our defensive line, or our cover teams, like they've all got to step up too, or Noah's going to take advantage of them every day. And that's the reason that we have him in the spots that we have him. He's just a tremendous leader. He's a quiet leader, but man, does he bring the energy and the motor when we need it during practice.
So Noah, let me go to you. You guys are coming off back-to-back wins. I know that Elsinore game is very important to you guys as well. How do you feel about the team right now after back-to-back wins?
I'm feeling good. One thing with this team that I've seen since freshman year is we may not be the biggest, not the strongest, but we all have heart and we play for each other. And that's something that it's been cool to grow up with these past 4 years.
And do you think that's important, especially when you get in close games? I mean, you guys have had 3 close games, and it's coming down to the wire. Is that important that, you've been through some fires with some of these guys and you can trust the guy next to you? I mean, is that important in terms of winning games and winning close games?
It 100% is. Like I said, since I remember JV year, we got in a lot of close, tough games, and we were able to stick together and end up pulling out.
All right, Noah, I know you're a wrestler too, right?
I am, yeah.
And a pretty good wrestler. If you're watching the show, he's a very good wrestler. Does wrestling help football and vice versa, like the two sports?
Yeah, it 100% does. Tackling, mental toughness, that's a huge one. Like, if you can't be mentally tough out there one-on-one on the mat, then you can't really do anything.
Mm-hmm. What about even just like leverage-wise, like wrestlers, obviously they're very smart as well. They're some of the smartest guys I've ever met, but just the way you can, body control and balance and leverage and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, it helps with your hands, helps with your feet. You're able to feel the guy more going, when he goes left, right, you can feel his body and really mess with him.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coach, let me go back to you as we wrap this up. So obviously 2 big wins, but you got 2 really tough opponents coming up to get you ready for league play. You got Chaparral followed by Vista Marietta. You guys will certainly be battle tested by the time you get to league play. What are you just hoping to see from your team in the next couple of weeks?
Growth. I just want to continue to see the growth. Each week, we implement something new, we practice something new, we have a plan, so that we peak once we get into league. The preseason, the first 5 games, yes, you want to come out with as many victories as you can, but ultimately, you've got to win your league. Right? You've got to win 3 or 4 games in your league to move on, to get that CIF bid. So for us, it's just growth. Can we fix the little mistakes each and every week so that we're peaking, we got 2 games and then a bye. So we've got 3 weeks, to get to where we need to get and, make a run in our league. And that's what I want to see is just a little bit of growth each and every week.
And is that only magnified because you say you have like a younger team, like these games early on in the season might be a little bit more important than different years or different seasons, just because these guys need experience, they need snaps, they need to be out there?
I wouldn't say magnified, I know where they are, and it's not, my job is to make sure that I maintain that level, consistency. Not to expect too much. Yes, we are getting closer to the league, and maybe, I would like to see us a little further ahead, but I also have to be realistic and know where we are. And if I get to that point where I'm pushing a little too much with a younger group, then you get that, that little bit of panic, that little bit of doubt, and that's what we can't have, is to have that. So it's just implementing little things each week, improving each week. And then, we've got 3 weeks to get, the run plays down that we want, the pass combinations down that we want, the defense down that we want, and, to give us that identity. We're still feeling out a few things on the identity part, and I think in the next 3 weeks we'll have it down.
That's awesome. That's a great answer there. Coach Bonaventura, I really appreciate the time. Caden Chrisman in the middle of your screen, Noah Watkins over there on the edge. Guys, thank you so much. Congrats on those last couple of wins against Elsinore and Temescal Canyon, and best of luck the rest of the season, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you much. Anytime.
You got it. That's the Temecula Valley Golden Bears here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. All right, a big thanks to the Temecula Valley Golden Bears for checking in as they go up against Chaparral this week in week number 3. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show. We're going to hear from Centennial boys basketball coach Josh Giles. He's going to sit down with the Boost man, Ray Bass, from Boost Performance Training and talk about what it takes to be a champion. And he's done it. He's won open division championships at the section level, the state level. He's had some players go to big-time D1 college basketball, even the NBA with Jared McCain. They'll talk about Jared McCain quite a bit during this interview as well. So we got that right around the corner, plus our Boost Top 25 poll for our high school football. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back here on the Inland Sports Show. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the end.
Here are 3 tips for improved sleep for student athletes. Number 1, try not to perform any activities in your bedroom besides sleeping. This associates your bedroom with sleep. Number 2, only go to your bed when you're really sleepy and after a routine. This way, when you see your bed, you'll think of sleep. Number 3, if you can't sleep, get out of your bed or bedroom. This way, you can prevent your bed or bedroom from becoming a wakeful trigger. Sleep plays an important role in your development as a student and athlete. So if you want to play at your best, get some rest. Boostman.
Inland Sports. I want to give some local shout-outs. First to our guy, Jaden Daniels. We talk about him a lot, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Cajon High School. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, about 300, total yards on the ground through the air, but they did lose. The Washington Commanders did lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, Patrick, dude, Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, they're actually pretty good, man. When Tom Brady left, we thought they were going to fall off a cliff. No, Tampa Bay is actually pretty good.
And I don't want to jinx them or anything, but I mean, they have some aspirations of going very deep in the playoffs. Dare I say Super Bowl talk?
Another local shout out, our guy Alexander Madison, the pride of San Bernardino High School, his first game in the silver and black of the Raiders. The good news is Alex scored a touchdown. Caught a touchdown, made a great run up the sideline to get in the end zone. The bad news is it was Las Vegas's only touchdown in the game as Jim Harbaugh and the Lightning Bolts come out and win their first game of the year, 22-10 against the Raiders. And Patrick, my takeaway for the Chargers, and I think we knew that he was trying to do this, is that the Chargers are going to be black and blue football, man. He's going to take that Michigan mentality where we're going to be big and strong up front. We're going to run the ball hard, and we're going to play great defense. So if you think we're just going to try to outscore you, that's not going to happen. We got Justin Herbert. He's great, I know. But he's going to play great defense, and they're going to run the football hard.
Fantasy football people, pick up Dobbins. He's going to be running the rock a ton. And the Raiders, oh my goodness. Gardner Minshew, I'd love to say, hey, man, he's going to save the day. It did not look like that, just like Pep just got through saying. Alexander, our boy, was the only bright spot for the Raiders. Their defense looked fine, and the offense clearly, I hate to say it to Mr. Jorts, but they do look like they need a quarterback. And it does look like if they don't do something soon, I mean, that wide receiver, Davante, he's going to be gone on another team.
Yeah, there was a lot of speculation in the offseason that he might end up with the Jets, with reuniting with Aaron Rodgers. Inland Sports. Hanging out with my boy Patrick in the morning on KCal 96.7 FM every Monday and Thursday morning talking inland sports. All right, before we get to our big interview with Josh Giles from Centennial, let's take a look at our Big Boost play of the week. Inland sports. Let's do this. It came from the big Aquinas versus Citrus Valley game. Mike Davis, number 44 for the Aquinas Falcons. The interception, then the heads-up play to flip the ball over to Marcus McGilberry, who takes it in for a Falcons touchdown. Slow it down and take another look, and it was a monster game for Mike Davis. He had 14 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, and a big win, 27-10 against a very good Citrus Valley team. That is our Big Boost play of the week. Congratulations to Mike Davis. All right, here's the Boost Top 25 poll after week 2 of the season. Shapes up like this. Centennial coming off their first win against Tippview from Utah. They stay at number 1 but get that first win of the season, followed by Chaparral, Cajon, Murrieta Valley, Vista Murrieta, Beaumont, and then Aquinas. So a lot of CBL and Big West teams in our top 10. Orange Vista, Citrus Valley, and San Jacinto round out the top 10. San Jacinto coming off that big win against Yorba Linda last week. On the other side, a couple teams to keep an eye on. King at 3-0, Norte Vista 3-0, Yucaipa 3-0. A little bit farther down the list, don't sleep on Vista Del Lago, Hemet, Ramona. They have also started the season with 3 straight wins. And that is the Big Boost, the Boost Top 25 poll after week 2. And most, not all, but most of these teams are playing this week. So we will have some movement in the Boost Top 25 come next week. All right, the Boost man, Ray Bass, he does a thing called the Gridiron Question, where he answers questions from you guys out there. What makes a champion? So we had to go find out. So we talked to a big-time champion, Centennial boys basketball coach Josh Giles. He had a chance to sit down with him at Centennial High School to pick his brain on what makes a great leader, what makes a good champion, and what it takes, the work, and maybe the work that you don't see that takes place to get to that level. So here is the Gridiron Question with the Boost man Ray Bass and Josh Giles. Hey, what's up, guys? We're here at Centennial High School inside the boys basketball team room for a very special Gridiron Question. Our guy, the Boost man, Ray Bass, had a chance to sit down with Huskies boys basketball coach Josh Giles. Boost man.
Thanks, Pep. You know, I've been around youth sports in the community for over 10 years, and something I always hear from parents is, they talk about development. They're looking for the coaches who can develop their child. But, what exactly is development? What does it look like? You'd be surprised how many parents don't know exactly what development even is. Coach, you've built an impressive resume here at the 10. You've won championships in every category, state, CIF, regional, and you've produced a lot of athletes who've went on to play collegiately and professionally. What does development look like to you?
So, to me, I think, everybody goes to practice. So to me, development is the stuff that you do outside of the mandatory. So, if we have a practice at, for us, it's 8 in the morning. So if we go 8 to 9:30 in the morning, if we have a weights after school, well, everybody in the program, every player did that. So your development really happens is what did you do outside of that? And so to me, that's where you really start to develop. Guys that just come in and just do the practice stuff, yeah, you get that skill set, but that's going to be, specifically designed for the team. To me, development is what do you do for yourself, the individual athlete. So, we have one of my assistant coaches, Shannon Sharp. He's a skills trainer. He has, he has an impressive resume of the people that he's worked with. He's trained NBA guys. Yeah. And so I have a lot of my players will go see him, and they see him outside of the stuff that we do. So if we have usually we go 2 to 3 hours a day when you factor in weights and stuff like that. Yeah. Days when we're in conditioning, when we're in our conditioning, we might go 4 hours. We'll do that a couple times a week. What are you doing outside of that? And the perfect example for us would be a guy like a Jared McCain. Like his development was crazy, but all those unseen hours, like he did so much outside of the mandatory. So if we had an 8 a.m. practice, well, he's here at 6:30. Mm-hmm. So he's already developing an hour before everybody else gets here. When school's out, if we're doing weights, he goes over and he's doing another lift or he's doing another workout. So to me, I think that's the development. Are you seeing a speed a speed and agility guy? Are you working, for basketball, are you working on, your jumping ability? I think nowadays, I'm just getting older, but when I was an athlete, weights wasn't emphasized.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not lifting weights, you're falling behind. Like you can't not lift weights now.
Yeah.
So I think all of those things are development. What are you doing outside of the mandatory? And it can't be like, oh, I went in my backyard and I got 30. I shot for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It is specifically, seeking out help, whether it be from a trainer, a skills trainer, somebody that does something with speed and agility that is focusing on that specific, what's the word I'm looking for? That specific, whatever that need is for the sport.
Yeah.
So if it's football, what are you doing from a speed, and agility? Basketball, ball handling, shooting.
For sure.
I think those are the main things with development. What do you do outside the mandatory?
Absolutely. It's that extra work. When you talk about guys like Jared McCain, and that's every parent's dream to have that type of story play out. And I think you already kind of answered this, but what is your process of taking a player and making him to a college prospect, like you did with Jared McCain?
Right. I think a lot of it has to be self-driven. We've been very fortunate. I've been very, very fortunate to have had a lot of great athletes in this locker room. And I've had some great players in here. It's funny though that the guys that have had the most success in high school, that have gone on to have the most success in college, and outside of Jared McCain, we still have 5 or 6 guys that are playing professionally right now overseas and stuff like that. Those guys always seem to be the first to show up, the last to leave. Of course. And it's just funny how that always works out. I've never had a guy that has come through Centennial, went and had success in college, and then went and played, maybe overseas or whatever, even if their career stopped in college, but they still had a successful collegiate career.
Yeah.
Not a single one was a last to practice, first to leave guy. Not a single one. They were always the first guy to practice, or one of the first guys to practice.
Yes.
And they're the kind of guys that you have to kick them out of the gym. Hey, it's time to go home. Things like that. And yes, it is every parent's dream, but we've been very fortunate to have that. But I think a lot of it is self-driven.
For sure.
They have to have the motivation to do the stuff that we're talking about. What do you do outside the mandatory? Mm-hmm. And if you have, if mom and dad have to drive them to go do it, I don't think it's the same. Absolutely. With a Jared, because everybody uses him as an example, with a Jared McCain, he was so driven. And if you ever watched his workouts, especially now, because he's only gotten better and better as he's gotten older, and as he's figured out more and more what he needs to do to improve and get better every day. He might be laughing and joking around, but when it's time to work, it's work. There's no laughing, there's no joking around, there's no wasted repetitions. There is no such thing as wasted movement. So his hour workout looks a lot different than most people's hour workout. You know what I mean? There's just no wasted time. There's no wasted energy. There's no wasted effort. And every rep is done at game speed. It's done at max effort.
Love that.
And it's so obvious when you see him work out. It's that's the reason why he is where he is. It's not because he was the greatest athlete. Everybody knows that. It wasn't because he was the biggest or the strongest, but he might be the hardest working. So that's kind of the thing. I think that, those, parents wanted to see that success story. It has to be self-driven though. You have to have the athlete that wants to be great.
I love the fact that you bring that up too, because, you're explaining the why, and a lot of young athletes don't understand that. Why do you have to show up first? Why do you have to be the last to leave? Why do you have to put the extra work in? That's really important. And then one thing that you said that I really love is that, you talk about Jared McCain and you talk about the quality of that hour when he's in the gym. He's not just messing around. It's time to work. Yeah. And that quality is there. The last thing I'm going to bring up about Jared McCain, I want to know is about this locker right here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know if we can see behind, but when you walk into our team room, we have kind of a little thing up here. Donovan Dent, the 2022 State Player of the Year, and then next to him you have Jared, the 2023 State Player of the Year. But Jared's locker is right here, and Jared comes back to Corona a lot, and when he comes back, he's usually always hitting me up about getting the keys, stealing the keys so he can come over to Centennial and get up shots. So
That's cool.
Whenever he comes here to work out, he needs a locker. So Yeah, we've made it very clear that's 2-4's locker, and it will always remain his locker. So he's got his nameplate still up there, and nobody's allowed to sit in it. So when he's back in town and he needs somewhere to shoot, this is Jared's. Like, and it's funny. So it's kind of like it's empty right now, but that's because Jared doesn't have anything here. But like, you know, when he's in town, he's always like, you know, he'll text me from the airplane as it's getting ready to land, like, hey, I'll be at your house in an hour. I'm gonna go pick up the keys. And so, you know, whenever he needs that, he needs a place to change, right? He needs a place to put his stuff. So it will always remain his locker. Like, nobody sits in it, nobody puts anything in there. You know, if
all the other players, they respect that.
They understand that. And if you want to have your own locker, then you got to go win 3 CIF Open Division titles. You got to win a state title, win a gold medal, be a McDonald's All-American. You know, you know, be the CIF Player of the Year, be the Riverside County Player of the Year. You know, so if you want to do it, you got to do some of the things that he did. And his resume is right up there with like the greatest winners in, you know, for basketball in all of Southern California. You know, you got Stanley Johnson at Mater Dei, you know, guys like that won a ton, but Jared's right there. Yeah. So he has his own little, I guess, his little locker room shrine that nobody can touch.
That's cool. Centennial royalty, I like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's the head of our Mount Rushmore, right?
Nice.
Yeah, so he's up there.
Okay, so I got one more question regarding. I had to get your opinion on this regarding development. You know, a few months back, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, he came out and said that compared to Europe, young athletes, young hoopers in the United States are focused a lot more on competition over practice. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was not. I got to meet him at the draft with Jared, and he was a good guy, and we actually had a very, very brief conversation about this. And I think Kobe Bryant explains it great too. You know, the late Kobe Bryant talks about it, and you know, once you get through some of the language that he uses, because he was pretty adamant about it. Yeah, it's totally different. Like when you look at the European model, if I believe they play 2 games a week. You know, so they can play on like a Saturday, Sunday, that's it. Yeah. Those other 5 days, it's all practice. Yes. And so it's, you know, skill work. They're learning how to practice, learning how to play without the ball. They're learning to do all that kind of stuff. That is the complete opposite of the AAU model that we have in the United States. And I think that's why, you know, when you see the Olympics and stuff, yeah, we have way more talented players. We have the way better athletes and all this stuff. But the rest of the world is able to play with us because they play a better game as far as like being able to do all that kind of stuff. Yes. And I think that's why they've closed the gap. And so, like, you know, Kobe has, if you YouTube it, he has a lot of stuff that he talks about on it. And I think he's right. Like, you know, I think if we spent more time on the skill and development, the learning how to play and stuff like that, like basic fundamental stuff, like we don't know how to do. Yeah. And you'll see it with the guys that come in. Basic fundamental stuff, very, very talented freshmen, very talented sophomores, and you'll watch them and it's like, how do you not know like how to do this stuff? Like basic, like see your man, see the ball. Like this is basic stuff that a first grader should know. Yeah. And you'll have an unbelievable player that doesn't know how to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the biggest difference. And my son was at a AAU event this summer, and I saw a player that I knew from back when I was in high school, and I used to watch him play, and you know, I saw him, and he played overseas for years, and he still lives in Italy. And so his son was out here to play against some stuff, and he talked about it. Like, so he coaches one of the national teams back in Italy still, and he's like, yeah, you know, they play 1 game, maybe 2 a week. Wow. And you look at the model of the United States, you know, they're playing. These guys are playing hundreds of games during the summer, and like I've totally changed how we do our summer stuff because of how many games these guys play. Yeah. If we could. I don't know how you would even go about trying to regulate that, but I think the European model is showing to be way more successful, or the overseas model, than kind of what we're doing. Yeah. And that's why you see, I mean, look at the first round this year of the NBA draft. How many of those guys, like in the top 10, were European-born players? Yeah. Was it like 4 or 5? Yeah. You know, that's crazy. And I think, but they know how to play. I think they know. I'm not saying they're better, but I think they know how to play the game better. If that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah. You know, and obviously, you know, what do we do about that? You know, that's the reason why we're sitting here talking to you. I mean, I feel like the more that we can educate parents and young athletes on the things that they should be focused on, what development looks like, you know, we're making a difference. You know, so I appreciate that, Coach. I appreciate the time. This is awesome. You know, got to talk a little bit about McCain. I mean, that's just an awesome story. Appreciate it. Back to you, Pep.
All All right, good stuff. Thank you, Boost Man, for that. And we've got a couple more awesome gridiron questions lined up with a championship soccer coach and a championship baseball coach right around the corner. So make sure you stay tuned in for that. That's going to do it for this Inland Sports Show. Thanks to the Hemet Bulldogs, the Temecula Valley Golden Bears, and Josh Giles, the Centennial boys basketball coach. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. I'm Pep Fernandez, and we will see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.